Friday, January 23rd, and you're watching the Hammer Daily here on the Hammer Betting Network, presented by our good friends over at FanDuel. I'm your host for today, Jay Scuba, alongside my producer for the next hour and a bit behind the board, Jacob Gramegna, cooking up the boards. We got a great show for you today. Excited to get into things. Yes, it is Friday. Very fun, action-packed weekend. Conference championship games. Tons of basketball. Tons of hockey. UFC 324. We are blessed with a great sports week. Golf as well. What any other sports? Tennis? We got everything for you.
No darts, unfortunately.
No darts. Oh, my God. It would have made it a perfect week if only there were darts.
Yeah.
It's a Q school now for darts, right?
It's over. QC is over.
Oh.
They're, I think it's like a month away, less than a month away from the first Players' Championship event.
What do we need to do? I'm getting sidetracked right now, but like, what do we need to do to get you sponsored and on tour?
To play darts?
Yeah.
Well, I need to get a lot better.
No. Yeah. There's no way we can you can't get like a Hammer sponsorship to get you on tour and like.
No, you have to. You have to go through Cusco to get on tour.
Okay.
On tour. I'm not good enough to be on it. I think there is a path to the North American tour.
Okay.
If I keep practicing.
All right. We'll do that then.
Get the Hammer to sponsor.
Yeah, we'll do that. We
have a good darts nickname. Jacob the Hammer.
Jacob the Giant.
The Giant's good. Both are taken. The Giant is taken by the world number 3.
Fuck.
And the Hammer is taken by a former world finalist.
What about Jacob the Hammering Giant?
Yeah, something like that.
All right. I didn't want to flip the words around because then I would have gotten like a HR violation from Rob there. But anyways, let's get into today's show.
I don't know. We called our newsletter Kirk's Hammer.
Fair.
Don't think Rob cares too much about that.
Jacob the Giant Hammer. There we go. All right. Let's get into today's show. We got a great show for you guys today, as always. No Hitman today. Who would have guessed? Who would have thought?
Yeah,
of course.
Sorry if you heard my promo for that on the Circle Back episode today. I thought Hitman was on. He's not on, but we still have a great show.
Yeah, we still have a great show. Jack, of course, who's, in my opinion, been doing a little bit better than Hitman when it comes to these things. I think the chat enjoys him a little bit more as well. Joins the show from ETR. Going to talk through both games, talk some player props. And a reminder, if you guys have any questions, don't be afraid to drop them in the chat. Some of you guys love to drop these questions in the chat. I'll fire them Jack's way. This is as much, I like to say this, as much as your show as it is our show. It's our show. We do it all together. So if you guys have any questions, don't be afraid to drop those in the chat. Yeah, we're talking NFL player props. I want to know how they're adjusting for Stidham because it must be so hard to quantify for a quarterback, especially in the props market, like just based off of like preseason games and like a game he played 2 years ago. Anyways, very interesting stuff here. Going to get into it today. And then after that, of course, Andrew Gombas coming on. UFC 324. It's the first ever Paramount Plus card. Unfortunately, in Canada, we don't reap the rewards of the Paramount Plus subscription service. We still have to do pay-per-view. I'm still going to be illegally streaming it. Sorry, Dana White. But, like, just got a raw end of the deal when it comes to this UFC stuff. It's good for the Americans out there, not good for us Canadians. Well, it's the same for us Canadians. Andrew's going to come on and talk UFC 224. Great card. Gaethje, Pimblett, O'Malley, Song Yadong, Rose Namajunas on the card. Umar Nurmagomedov, Deiveson Figueiredo on the prelims. We got a banger of a card. And then finally, to close out the show, everyone's favorite, G-Stack George, comes on air. Going to just break down the game, talk about... He has a couple props for us. I told him to look at some exotic markets for us as well. And then we're also going to talk about Jesse Minter getting hired to the Ravens. Sorry, Jeff. Phillip Rivers getting interviewed for the Buffalo head coaching job. What are we doing here? A lot to talk about in the coaching sphere. A lot to talk about in the NFL. Excited to get into today's show. Before we get into things, quick reminder. Sunday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern time. It's a pizza buffet. I know people have been used to it, the pizza buffet going down on Saturdays when we flip to the playoffs. We're only doing that just to stay ahead of the curve. Make sure we're getting Rob gets his opinions in before the games start. But there is no games on Saturday, which means pizza buffet is back to its 11 a.m. slot on the Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Rob is breaking down both championship games live on the Forward Progress YouTube channel. You're not going to want to miss this, especially if you're subscribed to Fezzik service, because you could just get your plays like 10 minutes earlier if you just watch the pizza buffet instead. Anyways, let's get into today's show. First guest of the day. You've seen him on here the past couple weeks. Does projections over at ETR. Jack, how's it going, my friend?
It's going good. It currently feels like -24 in Chicago right now. So not much on the docket this weekend. Because it's supposed to stay like that, except watching the conference championship game. So excited to be here and talk through those.
Yeah, no, it's going to be great to do that. I hope you fired out. I don't know if you have a girlfriend or anything like that or a significant other, but maybe you fired out some you want to get snowed in together text throughout the weekend. You pre.
I have not done that. Might be the move though. Might have to look into that.
That is definitely the move. We are in a similar situation up here in Toronto. Listen, I don't like to complain, but actually,
we're just a little bit warmer than Chicago.
Yeah,
right
we're a day
bit.
I think we're a day behind you. It's supposed to be like -26 degrees Celsius here. Tomorrow.
Yeah, it's not even snowing here though. I know like New York is getting crushed with snow. Like there's no snow here. It's just absurdly cold with no precipitation.
It's crazy. What would have been if the San Francisco 49ers won and the Chicago Bears won? We would have had a lot of fun there. I would have been in Chicago. We would have met up, but they didn't win. So we're here now enjoying the cold. I have a wedding on Saturday. I'm going to hate my life for that, but that's just the whole other thing. People don't care about my wedding. People care about today's show, talking about the games. And the first game to start with, the most interesting game. Both games are pretty interesting, but I think the Patriots-Broncos game is very, very interesting here. Just when it comes to the Denver side of the ball, a lot of trust in Sean Payton, a lot of trust in how he runs an offense. Jarrett Stidham is a big question mark. First of all, how do you guys prepare for a quarterback like this where we haven't seen a guy playing it's been 2 years. He's only played preseason games, stepping in and one of the biggest stages. How do you prepare and how do you account for Jarrett Stidham? Do you just use priors? Is it a lot of guesswork? How do you guys do this stuff?
Yeah, it's definitely a decent amount of guesswork. We have algorithms that just kind of predict yards per attempt and stuff. And then we adjust them based on feel and discussion. But when a guy has as few career pass attempts as Stidham does, it's hard to be overwhelmingly confident in our number, I'd say. But I mean, he's still a backup quarterback. He's been in the league for a while and hasn't been given an extended look as a starter. So I don't think you can expect awesome things. And so I think we're at 6.4 yards per attempt on him, which isn't very good, obviously. But I mean, he's certainly not the worst quarterback in the world. The Broncos seem to have some faith in him. I don't think they're going to completely turtle shell. The quotes from Peyton and the staff seem to indicate some confidence in him. Obviously, they have to say stuff like that. They're not going to say, we don't believe in Jarrett at all. But I do think that they have a little bit of faith in him. So we're not projecting some insanely high run rate, but obviously a little lower pass rate than we would with Knicks, and the efficiency does take a hit for sure.
All right. I'm just looking at my odds board right now, and Marvin Mims locked up quickly here. He was at 22.5 just a minute ago. He's bumped up to 27.5, literally right as we're live on air over on FanDuel. Any opinion on that? I don't know if that was a release. Seems like this might be a release here that someone gave out because the whole market is steaming up. Do you agree with the move of 22.5 to 27.5 kind of on the fly right now?
Yeah, we do. I think that might have been ETR, to be honest. It depends on we're guessing on the Troy Franklin status. Obviously, okay. It'll look a lot better if he is out. He's had back-to-back limited practices. I'd expect another limited practice and probably a questionable listing after practice today. But the reports from yesterday were that he wasn't doing a ton at practice, so we're kind of gambling on him being out. But yeah, we took the receptions over on Mims, just expecting a big pass catching role from him, or a bigger than usual, I should say, assuming Franklin ends up out.
All right, sorry if I got you in trouble there with that question. I don't want to do that, but
no, it's already done. It already steamed. So
okay,
all good there.
All right, good to know. There's a couple 21, 22.5 still out there, chat, if you want to get on that and chase that steam. Let's flip over to the other side of the ball. We've seen Kayshon Boutte kind of separate himself as the seems like to be the favorite option for Drake May here in the passing game, but he's still lined at 35.5 compared to Stephon Diggs, 44.5, Hunter Henry, 41.5. Is that because you're expecting Patrick Surtain to kind of follow Boutte around? And any opinion on Boutte here?
No, I think we can just generally expect more targets for Diggs. Even Boutte has had a larger ascension without Matt Collins. But even in the past 3 games without Matt Collins, Bootie's had an 18% target share in 2 of those games, and then a 13% target share where he was limited with a hamstring injury. But in those 2 games, he was healthy, and in a full-time role, he was still only at 18% target share, that's a big difference from where he was with Hollins healthy for most of the season, but it's still lower than where Diggs has been pretty much all year. Diggs has been like a 20 to 21% target share guy all year. So Bootie's definitely had some big production games, but from a volume standpoint, Diggs has kind of been the biggest volume guy there all year. He hasn't been as affected by the Matt Collins injury, whereas Bootie has seen a pretty clear uptick in volume. But even with that uptick in volume, I think it makes sense to have Diggs ahead there.
All right. I want to ask you about the Broncos running game because we don't have lines posted just yet for RJ Harvey or for J.K. Dobbins, who may or may not play, Jaleel McLaughlin either. How would you, assuming J.K. Dobbins is in, what do you? I don't know if you guys can get. I don't want you to give too much away here, but like, what do you expect the split to look like if, let's say, J.K. Dobbins is in coming off this injury?
Yeah. To be honest, I don't have much to give away. We have Dobbins out right now, and we haven't really talked through a lot yet on what we'd have for Dobbins if he's in. If he does get activated, that's probably something we'll do tomorrow, or if there's news today that he's going to be in. Right now, we're projecting Dobbins out just because he's still getting in limited practices. Most of the time with these injured reserve guys, they get in full practices before they return. So we'll see what he gets in today. But we're kind of just projecting it normally with Harvey and McLaughlin right now. Obviously, it was a tighter split last week, but they also had very few team rush attempts or running back rush attempts. Bo Nix had a lot of carries last week. And so we're kind of just leaning into what it's been, a little tighter than we had projected last week, given the tighter ratio last week, but nothing too different. If Dobbins is in, just kind of on the spot, I would kind of expect Harvey to still be the pretty clear RB1 and Dobbins to be fairly limited based on the length of time that he missed and the fact that, 3 days before the game, he's still at a limited practice yesterday. But yeah, that's just my initial take. But I think hopefully if he's in, we'd get news saying like exactly what we could expect from him on like a snap and carry ratio.
All right. Just sort of a gut check. Another gut check for you right here. Jared Stidham, want to ask you about his rushing yards because you mentioned Bo Nix. We know the sort of the type of player he is. He's not afraid to kind of escape the pocket and just run. Jared Stidham's like lined at 13.5 rushing yards, which again, I can't remember the last time I watched Jared Stidham play football, but intuitively felt maybe like a little bit high here. We know that in these big games, quarterbacks, I don't even know if this is true, but like it feels like quarterbacks tend to run the ball a little bit more or are willing to run the ball a little bit more. This 13.5, intuitively, like I know this is just guesswork here. Do you feel like that's about right, or do you think there's room towards the under here?
I think it's about right. He's not as big of a runner as Bo Nix for sure. He has scrambled a decent amount throughout his career, but he does not have a designed rush attempt in his career. Quarterback design runs do tend to go up in the playoffs, as we saw with Bo Nix. I think Josh Allen's a pretty clear one you can point to in that regard. But I don't think you can expect a ton of design runs for Stidham. It's just not who he's been dating back to what he was in college, and he doesn't have any design runs in his NFL career. I do think you can expect some scrambles. We have a pretty, not like a crazy scramble rate on him, but a pretty respectable one. So I do think he'll scramble a fair amount. And so it's not like a projection we have massive confidence in, given the lack of sample size on him. But I think the line right now is a pretty good estimation.
All right, let's flip over and talk anytime touchdown score for this game. I asked you to prepare 2 anytime touchdown scores. I normally ask you for 1, but there's only 2 games. I thought, why not? Let's get 1 for each game. Gun to your head, anytime touchdown score. Who do you have here in the New England Patriots and Denver Broncos game?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Kyle Williams at 8-1. Okay. There is a better price than that out there, but this is a FanDuel show, so I'll give the FanDuel number. He got back ahead of Demario Douglas in routes last week, and I think buying into that a little bit. He's had some big plays throughout the year. So I think 8-1 for a guy who's going to be out there a decent amount is a pretty fine bet.
All right, Kyle Williams 8-1. Let's flip over to the next game, the more fun game. People are billing it as essentially the Super Bowl. Seattle and Los Angeles. I want to start here with the running game. How does Kenneth Walker obviously in, but we saw Zach Charbonnet towards ACL, I believe, or Achilles. Anyways, injured, out for a while, not going to be playing in this game. We've seen Kenneth Walker move all the way up to 85.5. Do you think that we'll see Kenneth Walker get like a full workload here, or do you think that like I don't even know who their backers are, George Halani or whoever they have working in at running back? Do you think they'll continue to split carries like we saw with Zach Charbonnet?
I think it's going to be a ton of Walker. I think they definitely trust Halani more than Velus Jones or Cam Akers. It was Velus last week. Akers was up from the practice squad the previous 3 weeks. So I do think that they trust Halani a decent amount more than either of those guys. But I think Kenneth Walker, we saw last week, Velus didn't even touch the ball until they were up. I think it was 41-6 at the time of Velus's first carry. So I mean, I'm sure you'll see Halani on the field. But I think in terms of who's going to get the carries, I think it's going to be a ton of Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, I think that makes perfect sense here with a ton of Kenneth Walker. Going back to the quarterback rushing stuff, again, Stafford, half yard. Sam Darnold, 5.5 yards. Both quarterbacks not known for rushing. Probably won't get a designed rush for them, but is there any appetite for maybe taking a look at a Matthew Stafford over a half yard with the potential that he could just get, a tush push or two? And if he doesn't kneel away the game, you could be live for that over half yard at plus 124.
I think probably not. He just is so averse to running. And yeah, I mean, he just basically never runs. Our scramble rate projection on him is very low. It's down near 1%. So for every 100 dropbacks, there'll be about one scramble. So yeah, I think it makes sense to just leave that one alone.
What about Sam Darnold?
Pretty much the same.
Okay.
No design for him. So we're pretty much just projecting him normally, and this has been in the vicinity that he's been all year. Maybe you could argue that he's like going to scramble more in the playoffs, but he also is dealing with an oblique injury, so you could really argue both sides. And this is kind of where his numbers been for a while now. So I think both of these quarterback running lines make sense.
All right. We kind of saw Davante Adams like dip in production last week. He did have 6 targets, but Colby Parkinson out-targeting him was a little bit of a head scratcher for me. Do we think this could be against a much tougher defense, is this sort of like a bounce back spot for Davante Adams? What do you have him projected for? Right now, his receptions are a little bit lower than they were last week, 4.5 juiced under. Do you like Davante Adams in this game? Is this a good matchup for him?
Yeah, we're pretty much just projecting him as normal. He had a low target share last week, but I think we have such an extended sample size of Adams being a producer that I'm not overly worried about one bad game. And their usage was actually pretty interesting last week, in that for a lot of the second half of the season, we've seen them really lean into the tight end heavy stuff. A lot of that was without Adams, which makes sense. If they are down a star wide receiver, they lean more into the tight ends. But last week they really went away from it. Barely any 13 personnel, barely any 12 personnel, which they hadn't been using that much anyway. It was really the 3 tight end stuff that they had been using, and they didn't use that much last week. I think maybe that was a little bit matchup based, trying to get the Bears cornerbacks in space a little bit more, and they could return to the tight end heavier stuff this week. But in terms of how it relates to Adams, I'm not super worried about one low game with someone as proven as him.
All right, let's flip over and talk touchdown scorers here. Ask you to prepare one for this game as well. Rams, Seahawks. Who do you like to score a touchdown in this game?
Yeah, we don't show as much value on the touchdown scores in this game as we had like a couple that show well in the other game. Like Cortland Sutton, I think there's some okay prices on a bigger name guy, but I'll just throw out George Halani, plus 950. He hasn't actually been activated yet, but he's gotten in full practices, and Velus Jones and Cam Akers are both still in the practice squad. So I think it's pretty clear that he's going to be activated, and they're going to put Charbonnet on IR in a corresponding move. And it's going to be a ton of Kenneth Walker, but there's just, there's some paths to George Halani finding the end zone, whether it be it's not likely, but if it's a blowout, maybe Helani gets in there at the end. If Kenneth Walker gets hurt, it's going to be a ton of Helani. And then he's going to get a carry here and there, even if Kenneth Walker stays healthy. And it's a normal game script. So I think at plus 950, that one's okay.
All right, we're throwing a dart at the plus 950 there. Jack, before you head out, appreciate you sharing that stuff with us. A couple questions in the chat, 2 questions in the chat. Johnny C asking Mims over 2.5 rushing yards. He likes that at plus 110. Do you like that number?
Yeah, this is like this. We kind of talked about this one last week.
Yeah.
Our wide receiver rushing stuff isn't the best. He didn't see like a massive, obviously jump in rushing last week, but I still think it does make sense to expect it from him in general in the playoffs, especially assuming Franklin is out and that they have a whole week to prepare him as a guy who's going to be like on the field a ton. So I don't really have like a super strong opinion. We tend to show unders on like all the wide receiver rushing, and we kind of just ignore it because it's not a strength of our modeling. But yeah, that's one I'd probably leave alone. I know that's not like a very fun answer.
I know. No, we talked about it last week. That's why I wanted to bring it up as well. But yeah, didn't get the carry last week. But it feels like if there's ever a week, it's this week with Jarrett Stidham as quarterback, going to be on the field a ton. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong again this week. 2 more questions from the chat. Derek asking about Pat Bryant over 3.5 receptions at plus 150.
Yeah, I can try to scroll over to what we have there right now. Off the top of my head, that one does sound decent. He's had I think 16% target share in like 5 straight healthy games or something like that. And he had 3 catches on the first drive last week before he went down with a concussion. So I think he was looking at a pretty big game there. It's not clear if he's actually cleared concussion protocol yet. The Denver beat guys kind of are indicating that he has, but I haven't seen a tweet 100% confirming he has. But we're assuming he's going to play, and we're assuming he's going to have a pretty big role, pretty much normal coming off a concussion. He shouldn't really be limited. And so with the target shares he's had recently, I do kind of like buying on Pat Bryant.
All right, look to buy on Pat Bryant there. Finally, last question comes from looks like Matt asking Corum under 9.5 longest rushing yards feels like a good look. I'll find the price for you in just a second here, but intuitively, Corum longest rush under 9.5, which is minus 114 at FanDuel.
Yeah, the longest stuff is less intuitive to me, and I tend to lean into our modeling a little bit more there. I do think the Rams carry split, just as kind of an aside, is a little bit uncertain because there was a ton of Kyren last week. The carries were really slanted toward Kyren, but the snaps were the exact same for the Kyren and Corum as they were in both weeks 19 and 18. So it's hard to know like how much they in a big game, how much they really wanted to get Kyren the ball on his snaps versus how much of that was just carry per snap variance. I kind of lean a little bit more toward the latter, and I think they still trust Corum. But that's just my opinion. But yeah, so we're kind of just projecting it normally. I'm not totally sure, honestly, where Corum's longest rush lines have been in previous weeks. Obviously, you have to adjust it down a bit for this defense. But yeah, that's one I don't have a strong opinion on really off the dome. I'd have to look into it a little bit more.
All good. Jack, appreciate you joining the show. Hope you have a great weekend. Stay safe, stay inside, stay warm. I know it's going to be chilly out in Chicago, and enjoy the conference championship weekend. Appreciate
it. For sure. You too. Thanks for
you.
me on.
Appreciate it. Thanks for coming on. Great stuff there from Jack. As always, if you guys didn't get the touchdown scores, anytime touchdown scores, that's Kyle Williams, George Halani. And honestly, for Hitman, who is not with us today on the show, I said that like he's dead. He's alive. He's just taking the week off. I know for a fact he would have came on the show, gave out Xavier Smith 22-1 for the 3rd week in a row.
What's he doing?
He's on vacation.
He's on vacation?
Yeah.
For conference championship week?
Yeah. There's only 2 games.
No shot. He's on vacation?
Yeah, he's taking the week off.
That's crazy during football season.
Well, I know.
It's like, only 2 games. Is he just done?
I guess so.
Some guys are just done at this point.
Yeah. I think
no
so.
No more liquidity. Everything's too sharp on player props.
Everything's basically in place. I think that's where he's at right now. Maybe we'll bring him on 5 minutes every day for the next 2 weeks so we can talk 1 Super Bowl prop per show.
Yeah.
I'll pitch it to him for canceling on us.
God.
5-minute spot at the end or at the beginning. Who knows? Anyways. Yeah. In honor of Hitman, who is not on the show today, no longer with us on this show, who's still alive. He's just on vacation again. Xavier Smith, 22-1. Before we bring on Andrew, before we talk to our next guest here, just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors over at FanDuel. 4 teams left, 2 games, and with a trip to the Super Bowl on the line, FanDuel's turning on playoff mode. And right now, all customers get a profit boost back during the conference championship round. That means you'll find a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts waiting for you in the app. More boosts means more ways to level up your playoff bets. Take your shot on an upset. Pick the team you've been backing all season long or build parlays that fit the moment. Then apply your profit boost and go after an even bigger payout while the playoffs keep on rolling. FanDuel makes it fast and easy and fun to get in on the playoff action, and when your bet wins, you'll get paid instantly. So visit FanDuel.com/forwardprogress and grab your profit boost pack for the NFC and AFC championships. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas, affiliates, Kansas Star Casino, 18 plus and present in DC, Kentucky, or Wyoming. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost token. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit FanDuel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/John, Connecticut. Or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 1-800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. All right. People asking how cold it is in Canada. It's pretty cold. Not cold today. It's going to be.
I think we're getting close to the Fahrenheit equaling the Celsius.
Yes. Wait. Actually?
How cold is that?
I have no idea, but that's really cold. I was reading it could get close to feels like minus 40.
Oh, wait, no. I think that's minus 40.
Yeah.
Where that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we're not quite there.
We might get a feels like minus 40 in Toronto this weekend. Anyways, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked.
It feels like right now in Toronto minus 15 Fahrenheit.
Jeez. All right.
Minus 26 Celsius.
It's cold up here. Our next guest, who's in New York, I know for a fact it's cold out there for him too.
Yeah.
Hopefully staying warm this weekend. Let's bring him on up. He's a pro sports bettor, MMA originator. Andrew, how's it going, my friend? Oh. Give us a second here. We got to bring you up on stage. No, it's all right. It's us. Don't worry. Just give us a second here. We'll get you up on. There we go. We're good. Awesome. What's up?
Nothing. Quick correction. I actually live in Florida, and it's about 75 degrees here today.
Okay, I did not know that. I guess, listen, I know you're a New York fan. That's why, but I just assumed.
I did live in New York once upon a time.
Okay. You chose the right route then by heading down south to Florida. It's nice and you got good weather there, I assume.
Yeah, days like today, it really feels like I made the right decision.
Incredible stuff there. All right, let's get into today's show. Man, I can't believe you dodged the polar vortex. Whatever. We're stuck up here in Canada, hunkering down. You get to chill out in the sun. What a great way to enjoy UFC 324. Let's talk about UFC 324, though. Lot to talk about. Really excited when I peeked at this card. Main event of this card, Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett for the interim lightweight title fight. Give me sort of a breakdown of how you see this fight going. Do you think Gaethje has like the knockout power and experience that will give him the edge here? Or is it just going to be like a Paddy Pimblett sort of slugfest, grapple fest, grind fest carrying him to victory?
Yeah, it's a really interesting fight because I could see a number of different things happening. Obviously, Gaethje's been through the ringer. He's tested against the absolute best fighters in the world. His strength of schedule is a lot better than Paddy's. That being said, he's getting up there in age, and he has a ton of miles on him. He's been in some wars. Obviously, Pimblett has a good-sized edge in jiu-jitsu, but I think Gaethje has very good takedown defense. So it's one of those spots where, if Paddy could get a couple takedowns, Gaethje's probably in trouble, but I also think there's a good chance he either gets none or one or just in general has trouble getting Gaethje to the ground. On the feet, I mean, Paddy's a really big guy, and that's probably one of his best assets in the division. His durability seems to be good. That being said, his defense on the feet is definitely suspect. So it's one of those fights where I could see either guy landing a knockout, and with giving Paddy's potential grappling upside and size and trajectory, I kind of agree where the line's at. Like I probably could be talked into it being a little bit lower, but I think relatively speaking, it's in the right ballpark. I'm going to pick Paddy to win.
All right. I saw these numbers and I was like slightly leaning Gaethje, but I think you're right. Line's in a good spot here. But yeah, you like Paddy to win this one. What's next for the winner of this fight? I know we're looking a little bit further ahead here. The card hasn't even happened yet, but is it a Topuria fight? Because I know he's kind of in limbo here with his whole situation going on. So what do you think would be next for these guys?
It was surprising the UFC made this matchup in general, given the fact that obviously Topuria is the champ. He's dealing with some out of the cage stuff. Arman Tsarukyan, absolute beast, probably the most deserving of a title shot. If there was an interim title fight, you would think it would involve him. Even guys like Charles Oliveira, who has a win over Gaethje, for example. It was a weird decision. I understand they want to put Paddy in a fight where he could win and get in line for a title. But is that another is that against Topuria? Is that again, does Topuria have to vacate the belt and Arman fights Paddy for the title? I don't really know. It just depends a lot of it depends on what's going on outside the case for Topuria, which is obviously unfortunate. I hope that it gets settled sooner rather than later, especially because Topuria and Paddy have been beefing for years, even before they were in the same weight class, before either of them had a name. So there's definitely some real blood there, and I think fans would be entertained by that.
All right, we're going the entertainment route. We're cheering for Paddy win, it seems like, just for the potential matchup if we eventually get it. Let's move on to the co-main fight here. Sean O'Malley, Song Yadong. Love Sean O'Malley as a fighter. Always thought he was very interesting. I honestly don't even care about the stuff off the outside of the cage, I guess. Just his striking is just always so much fun to watch. How do you think O'Malley's striking is going to match up against Song Yadong, who's a guy who's kind of has a little bit more of a power, a little bit of a heavier-handed guy?
It's another interesting matchup here. Obviously, Sean O'Malley, one of the best strikers in the sport. Really, really hard to hit. Good volume. Very elusive as a striker. Song Yadong's a little bit more flat-footed. He's going to come forward, get in your face, which potentially could cause O'Malley some issues. I'm curious to see if Song looks to mix in grappling. I feel like that might be a smart decision, but not necessarily an easy one. End of the day, O'Malley's striking stats are off the charts. I think it's hard to beat him if you're not out-grappling him. And Song Yadong's a good grappler, but he's not a great grappler. So I think you have to favor O'Malley here. I think the line's fine. I think it probably goes the distance significantly more often than not. Song's super durable. O'Malley's hard to hit. So I'll say O'Malley by decision.
All right. If you like O'Malley by decision here, you can get him method of victory, Sean O'Malley by the points, plus 115. I got this weird gut feeling that we're going to just see an absolute walk-off knockout here from Sean, a highlight reel moment, which he's known to do. Hopefully we can get it for the co-main. Let's flip over and talk the rest of the card. Card is a lot more stacked than I expected. I mean, seeing Rose Namajunas on this card was pretty awesome. Love watching her fight. Experienced flyweight fighter, but can she pull off an upset here against her opponent? I was shocked to see the number. She's plus 310 against Natalia Silva. As someone who's kind of been, I don't want to say checked out on Rose Namajunas for a bit, but just seeing that number kind of shocks me. But what's going on with that fight?
Yeah, it is a little bit shocking. There's a lot of hype behind Natalia Silva. She's a talented striker. I'm curious to see her grappling get tested a little more. She got taken down by Teresa Bleda, who's nowhere near the top 15. And, she ended up winning that fight. But that kind of gives me a little bit of pause when getting to a big number like this. We saw Rose, is capable of getting takedowns on the feet. She's obviously no slouch. She has wins over really good competition like Joanna and Weili Zhang twice. That being said, I do think Natalia Silva has a really unique skill set on the feet. I think technique-wise, she's one of the best, if not the best in the division. So I think that might be a little bit hard for Rose to keep up with at this point in her career. Gun to my head, I would take Rose at this price. I think I have a hard time, if we're sitting here on Sunday saying there was a ton of value on Natalia Silva, minus 350. I don't really see a scenario where that happens, but I could see a scenario where we're wow, plus 300 on Rose was actually kind of crazy in retrospect. That being said, I do think it's an uphill battle for her. I do agree with Silva being the favorite. I just think it's another one of those spots where it's a tad too juiced. Yeah, no, that was the initial reaction. Again, don't know too much. Best price, though, if you want to bet on Rose here, is over at FanDuel. It seems like it's just basing on what I'm looking at right now, it seems like it's kind of opened and stayed where it's at here. So we haven't really seen much movement there. Wonder what happens as we get closer to the fight, maybe on this Saturday. Prelims.
Shocked to see Umar Nurmagomedov and Dievsin Figueiredo on the prelims. That was like a little bit of a jump scare. I'm like, wow, that feels like a better fight than it should be. Better fight than where it's placed on the card. Talk us through this fight here, the main event of the prelims.
Yeah, like you said, former champion taking on former title challenger. I think Umar is pound for pound one of the best fighters on the planet. I think at 135, obviously Figueiredo, most of his success came down at 125. Not that he's not still dangerous here, but Umar, I think, just really is a level above almost everyone else in that division, including Figueiredo. I think Umar will be able to get on top. I think he'll be able to control Figueiredo. I think he wins. I think he looks really good doing it. He probably puts himself right back in the conversation for a potential title shot. Obviously, O'Malley and Song Yadong is on the card as well, and O'Malley could definitely make a case to get another fight with Jan, who he already has a win over. So interesting times at 135, but I think Umar is obviously the real deal, and I think this is a showcase fight for him.
Is this sort of like a testament for like how much politics matters in UFC and MMA, and do you like this? Because really, Umar should not be fighting on a prelim card. That's just kind of crazy when you think about it. He's 19-1. He's lost one fight. And he's on a prelim. It just doesn't really make sense to me. They've sort of built him up already. Any opinion on is this a factor of MMA, of the UFC, that is just kind of rubs you the wrong way?
Not really. I feel like the UFC gives people the platform to showcase their skills and to showcase who they are. And what they do from there is kind of up to them. Okay. Obviously, you compare it to someone like O'Malley, who you could make a case both guys are one win away from a title shot, right? O'Malley is a superstar in the sport, and Umar, he has a lot of respect from the hardcores, but he just hasn't really done that he hasn't really done the same thing Sean has done to put him in a position to have star power like that. And again, Umar did get a title shot. Umar is getting a fight against a former champion on the first card of the year, on the first card with Paramount. So I still think he has some opportunity to showcase himself if he comes out and looks really, really good. And O'Malley Yadong's a close fight. I think there's a case. I think both guys, really all four, are have the potential to land themselves something big with a win here.
All right. Let's look at the rest of the card here. Any bets that you like for this card that we haven't touched on yet? One thing I actually want to touch on, though, I'm just looking at my odds screen here. There is one way off-market offshore sportsbook hanging like a plus 136 on Michael Johnson. I don't know if my odds screen is wrong here. Any reason why you think a book like that is taking a stand on this fight when it's essentially almost a pick 'em or just slightly favored for Alex Hernandez elsewhere?
It looks like a lot of books took this fight down.
Okay.
So I'm not really sure what's going on there, but that's probably just a.
Okay. Well, it's available on FanDuel at the minus 115 at least for Alex Hernandez. I guess this plus 136 isn't up. I wasn't able to check before I got through. Anyways, disregard that. Let's flip over. Any other fight that you like that you want to talk about on this card that we haven't talked about yet?
Well, I liked Ricky Tercios, but right before we got on this podcast, his opponent passed out after weighing in, so that fight's very likely to get canceled. I just in general, a theme for this card, I think a lot of the big underdogs are a lot of fights are dog or pass, I guess is the best way I could phrase that. Even, Ty Miller versus Adam Fugate, I don't really know if Miller's done anything to show me that he should be minus 400 in a UFC fight. I thought the Tercios line was wide. I think you could make a case in a lot of these fights, Allen and Nami Yunus. I say all that to say, I think if you blind bet every underdog on this card, it would probably bode well for you. Not financial advice.
Not financial advice. Blind. What is it? 12-leg round robin parlay on every single underdog. Let's do it for the account health. Yeah. All right. Honestly, a great way to have fun during the card. Obviously, do it responsibly though.
Yeah, I always joke during football season because I'm a big Jets fan. I'm like, I'm gonna bet Jets money line into all of my accounts, and if it loses, just say it was to help prime them.
It's exactly, that's all it is. It's anytime a bet loses, it's priming. That's all that matters. I will say though, I'm so sorry that you're a Jets fan. I'm thinking about you through these hard times. But yeah,
lot of experience dealing with hardship.
All right. Listen, you're at least a Yankees fan. You have that one over us. I don't want to go like trauma Olympics with our sports teams, but Toronto it's not been kind to my soul for the last couple of years for championships, other than the Raptors, obviously, but I don't really care about basketball.
Yeah, I don't care about basketball either, but it has been a while since the Yankees won, and the Blue Jays got the most recent one over us, so.
We'll see what happens next year. I'm excited to talk about that when we get there. Andrew, appreciate you joining the show. Good luck with everything MMA. Stay warm. I know you will be. We'll chat next.
Yeah, that'll be easy.
All right, awesome stuff. We'll chat soon. Appreciate it.
Thanks, bro. Take care.
You too. Great stuff there from Andrew. As always, incredible stuff. Listen, my account is gonna be so healthy. My account's gonna be so healthy after this. I'm literally just gonna smash, very responsibly, every underdog here, and we're just gonna have fun with it. Because listen, I'm a UFC. I punt anyways on the UFC, so might as well have some fun with it. Let's do some round robins. Let's see what we can get here. Oh my gosh, yeah, that's a big number. Anyways, next guest we have G-Stack George. Before he comes on, honestly, maybe we play guess the line with G-Stack. Maybe we do it together.
Okay, yeah,
let's do it together instead of making it a competition. Before we talk about that though, gotta remind you guys, Sunday night, sad night, because it's our last watch along of the year. We have so much fun doing these NFL watch alongs. They're incredible. Chat's great. G-Stack's going to be on it. G-Stack is great when he does it. It's happening on the Forward Progress YouTube channel. It'll be a bittersweet moment. We're going to have a ton of fun, but it's going to be a little sad. I always well up a little bit whenever we do those shows because I have such a fun. One of my favorite shows is these watch along shows just because of how active everyone is in the chat, how much of a community we built there. It's just a lot of fun to do. I get to do my bits. It's great. But yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a fun one. Sunday, excuse me, for the Rams Seahawks game. G-Stack will be hosting. Speaking of G-Stack, let's bring him up on stage here. The winner, the number one, or I guess, yeah, the winner of the inaugural Hammer Fantasy League, G-Stack George, the prop prince. How's it going?
And captain of the winning. Not enough accolades here.
I
dude.
know you. Well, do I get like a little? I need like a little button here that says I'm like your number one value player because you picked me in the last round and I had the best record on the team outside of you.
The difference between winning and losing was you and Clive our last two picks of our teams. You outperformed Clive. You got us the title.
Raising the title. And now I'm cheering for the Patriots because we have a shared future on the Patriots. So
yes,
that'll be fun.
We're going to make some money courtesy of Rob.
Oh, it's going to be good. All right, George, you know it. Guess the line. You're the prop prince, so I'm going to need some help here.
Do you want to team up where we both give a number and Jacob can higher than Jason, lower than G-Stack? Or do you want to go heads up? What do you prefer?
I tried this with Kirk. I'm such a prick. If we go heads up, I'm just gonna do 1 yard. Do one below or one above you.
Price is Right type of rules.
Okay. We'll be.
So you're gonna be a team.
Yeah, let's be a team.
Yeah,
so
okay.
Here's how I think
you'll do one guess each, then the third you collaborate.
What I was thinking, George, is we only get one guess. We each give our guess to each other. We talk who we think is closer. And pick a number in between that, maybe. What are your thoughts on that?
So we both give our initial number.
Yeah.
Jake, how about this? We both give our initial number. Jacob says higher than Jason.
Okay, perfect.
Stack.
Yeah.
Then we collaborate on that last.
Sounds good.
Second.
All right. There we go. So we got 3 guesses essentially. All right. First one.
First one's Emmanuel Quickly, points, rebounds, and assists.
Shocked it's not Jamal Shed.
Raptors at Blazers. What did you say?
Shocked it's not Jamal Shed.
No. Because he's not starting anymore because RJ Barrett's back.
Okay. Emmanuel Quickly.
Probably not starting anyways.
George, I know you've never opened I saw you in the chat the other day saying I've never looked at a basketball on screen before. So we are.
Did this guy start or is he
He's a starting point guard of the Raptors, yes.
Okay.
Okay, I have a number in my head.
So that's 15 points, 5 assists, 2 rebounds. I my number's like 22.5.
I was gonna say 26.5.
So what do I say?
Is it inside or outside the range we gave?
Outside.
Outside. Oh, that does not help us at all.
So higher or lower than Jason?
You got your hint. You got your hint.
Oh, okay.
I asked what you wanted, and I gave you.
Okay. We know that he's coming off a 40 bomb.
No, he's not. He's two games ago. He did.
Okay, so
2 games ago, he had the most efficient 40-point game in NBA history.
let's
Jason,
do.
it's your range. It's your range.
Yeah.
for sure.
So let's go. Like what? What do you think? Do you think it's peaking in the 30s here?
I don't think. Is RJ Barrett back?
Yeah.
I'm like 28, 29.5, somewhere there.
Okay, let's do 29.5.
27.5. Wrong on the first
We were
one.
really close. I was really close to the first guess.
Yeah, you were. Second one, we have Puka Nacua rush plus receiving yards.
I know this one. I think because I was looking at it when I was doing the props today.
Go ahead.
I'm assuming like 98.5.
I believe it's 95 or 96.5.
What would you like?
95.5.
No. What would you like the hint to be?
I don't. Inside or outside? Yeah.
Outside.
Rushing and receiving yards?
Yeah.
Outside of 98.5.
You said 95 is 98. It is not within that range.
I could have sworn when I looked that Puka Nacua was at 91.5 receiving yards, and I know he's at 4.5 rushing yards. So the math is not mathing.
Listen, I'm looking at the screen right
George,
now.
what do we do?
Tell you, it's not inside those two.
Let's go one below yours.
Okay. 94.5?
99.5.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
You guys are close again.
Wow.
All right, last one. The total points in the Pistons-Rockets game.
Houston plays defense, right?
They do play defense.
I think both teams play defense, right?
They both play defense.
Okay.
I want to see like 222.5.
Okay, I'm gonna do this strategically and go 232.5.
What would you like the hint to be?
Inside or outside?
Outside.
Fuck.
How did you not nail one range? That's pretty spectacular.
We've been off by 1 each time.
George, you think it's higher or lower?
Lower.
So we're gonna say like 218-ish, 219, 220.
Yeah, I'm like 220.5. Yeah, we can go in between 219.5.
219.5.
217.5. So just off again. You guys were so close to greatness.
That was low-key an all-time moment. Do the Houston Rockets play defense?
I mean, look, I basically was providing context that it was a bit lower. Houston's offense is also a little shoddy, but they're two solid.
I know they have
one
like
very good team, one solid team.
lengthy guys, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's why I just assumed they were a good defensive team.
Yeah,
But-
fair.
There you go. 0-3.
All right. Enough fun. Let's the real reason why you bring it on. Let's get into a little bit more fun here. I want you to talk through both games. I'm kind of like giggling right now. I got to get out of this phase and into NFL talking mode. We had Jack on a little bit earlier. You have some props prep for us. What I'm going to ask you to do is break down the first game, the Patriots, the Broncos game. If anybody to watch Forward Progress, they know where you lie on this game. If anyone's watched any of Forward Progress throughout the entire year, they know where you lie on this game. Talk us through this game. I'm going to play devil's advocate with you, and then we'll talk some prop looks as well. So Patriots, Broncos, 4.5 minus 105 for the Patriots right now. Talk us through this one.
So we finally got some more Denver money in market. So there's some 4s out there. There's some like 4.5s, 105 at FanDuel. Not surprising. I still think there might be a little bit more Denver money to show, but I think it'll close like 4, maybe 3.5 juiced. Jason, I think this is like a tale of two teams with wrong perceptions. I think the perception that Denver's defense is very good, it doesn't hold up. The last 2 months, they have been pretty bad. 14th in EPA per play since week 12, 19th in defensive rush EPA. And you got to remember, there was a Raiders game in there. There was a Chris Olajuwon Chiefs game in there, and there was a Trey Lance Chargers are giving up game in there. So I think the numbers might be even worse than suggested. There's a clear line for Denver when they're playing a really good offense and a bad offense. They beat up on some of the bad offenses, and some of the good offenses like Jacksonville, Green Bay, Buffalo have put up points on them. So I do think New England will have some success moving the ball. The number one thing, though, and it plays into a player prop for me, Jason, is they have to protect Drake May. Nick Bonito coming off the edge against Will Campbell is a pretty bad mismatch. So if you look at the Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson numbers, like he's only out touching him 33-23 in the 2 playoff games, but he's out snapping him 80-51. I think in pass pro, you're going to see Ramondre staked to the left side, chipping on Bonito, but I also think he's gotten 4 targets each game. And against a team that blitzes heavy, Denver's like a top 6 blitz rate. Like to dump stuff off to the running back and linebackers. So I actually like Ramondre Stevenson. I gave it out, or I was talking about it yesterday on the Best Bet show at 2.5 receptions minus 122. It's now minus 128. I still like that price for Ramondre Stevenson. So that's my first player prop look. And on the other side, when I said tale of 2 different perceptions, the on-off splits of like Milton Williams for the Pats are significant. And I know there are caveats, playing against the Chargers and the Texans O-line, it's skewed. Those offenses are kind of stuck in the mud. But Jason, with Milton Williams, 4th in defensive EPA per play, and this includes early in the year, 3rd in defensive rush EPA, and without him, they go from 4th to 11th in defensive EPA per play and 30th in defensive rush EPA. I think that's a big one. Not sure that Jarrett Stidham's going to have all the success that people are making a lot of assumptions about a guy they've never seen. And I'm far less pessimistic on his results.
Okay. All right. I love that because I was actually going to ask you, I wanted to play devil's advocate. I was going to say, what's the solution here for the Patriots? Because a lot of people are talking about this game, but aren't mentioning the fact that when Drake May gets pressured, which we haven't seen him get pressured a lot in this year, but when he has been, he hasn't looked as great as everyone has been talking him up to be. I'm not saying he's not good. I'm just saying, as any quarterback does, he struggles a little bit more under pressure.
He has poor pocket feel, and especially blindside. All the strip sacks have come from his blindside. Morgan Moses, frankly, has done a great job at right tackle, and Michael Onwenu has always been a solid right guard. So it really is the Will Campbell and Jared Wilson, their rookie left tackle and left guard. I think the solution has to be Ramondre in pass pro a lot more. And a lot more screens and dump offs that you can mitigate a blitz, which Denver likes to heavily do.
All right, makes perfect sense there. And when I think about Josh McDaniels and I think about Tom Brady and I think about them going on Super Bowl runs, I think a lot about the blood dumps to the running back that we saw a lot of. So
they spammed run, and Ramondre's eight targets in 2 games. They've already increased his target share in the playoffs, and I think against the thing was with Houston rushes their 4, right? They don't blitz nearly at the rate that Denver does. So I think with a higher blitz rate, I think there's going to be more Ramondre and more opportunities for catching them off guard with a screen.
You can look at the 4+ receptions, 5+ receptions, 6+ reception markets at FanDuel, alt reception markets, 4+ plus 188, 5+ plus 390, 6+ plus 700. If you're feeling frisky, you think there's going to be a lot of blood dumps, that might be the path for you. George, again, I was trying to play devil's advocate, but I think you nailed the breakdown on this game, so there's really nothing more I can say or do other than move on to the next game, Rams, Seahawks. Talk us through this one. Seahawks right now -2.5, -104. Charles Cross, we felt like he might not play. Now they're saying that he will play. How much of that is gamesmanship? I don't really know.
They keep saying they're optimistic, but it's back-to-back DMPs.
Yeah.
Obviously, today's the day to watch. Even if he does go with a foot, is he healthy? They're missing their other backup 2 left tackles. So I think he's going to go. He's going to have to just tape it up and go. It's playoffs. But if he gets hurt in game, that could be hugely problematic. I also don't trust Darnold's oblique. And I know when you're cruising against San Fran, it's easy to just hand the ball off to Kenneth Walker to end the game. What happens if they're in a trailing game script, though, and they have to throw? That becomes a far more interesting question to me. And also, frankly, if they're in 3rd and long a lot more, we're like San Fran, they can't stop the run. So, yeah, they pounded Charbonnet early, and then he got hurt, and then Walker kept running the ball. To me, I think there's interesting angles when the Rams are on offense. Jack Miller said it great. They were heavily in 11 personnel, which confused me last week. But 2 things stood out. Second half of the season, they dialed up more big sets. And the second time they played Seattle, I know there was no Devontae Adams, but they found a lot of success with their 13 personnel, multiple tight end looks. There's a clear pecking order too now. On 46 Stafford dropbacks last week, Parkinson and Ferguson were two routes separated. Higbee only ran 8 routes and Davis Allen only ran 1. But they're pricing Colby Parkinson, and sure, he's obviously got more yards at a far higher number that I think is justified if him and Ferguson are both getting equal routes. I like Terrence Ferguson over 14.5 receiving yards, minus 114. Seattle gives the top 6 most yards up to tight ends. They play that too high shell, and they kind of let you have the underneath stuff. And I also like Terrence Ferguson over 1.5 receptions plus 148. Those are my prop looks in this game.
All right, love that. Love the way you break that down as well. Also, if you want some more live looks, tune into our live watch along because we'll be giving stuff out live. We know Terrence Ferguson very well because we've won some props on him live, I will say. But yeah, no.
I'm pretty sure we made money with him on the Thursday nighter against the Rams. I believe we bet him live too, and he like cashed right away.
It was like 3 snaps later. He like ended up getting a target. I think someone in the chat pointed out, was like, hey, he's getting like a ton of work. Like he's on the field a ton. Like let's fire it. And we did. So Terrence Ferguson over 14.5 receiving yards, minus 114 at FanDuel. And then you also like the receptions over 1.5 at plus 148. Love both of those looks. And again, I think you did a good job breaking down this game. I think my question to you is like, what do you think is going to happen if Seattle ends up trailing in this game? Are we going to see Darnold pumpkin? Do you think this is going to be a competitive game if Seattle's not able to go up early?
I don't know what to make of the oblique. I do know in terms of like, I looked at all of Darnold's games. 2 of his worst performances this year were against the Rams. Even in the game that they won in that like technically was a shootout. Through 3 quarters, they were kind of stuck in the mud, and then a Rashid Shaheed return touchdown changed the nature of the game. They also had like the weird off the helmet 2-point conversion. If you remember, like I think I was playing Jacob in the playoff match in that game, and JSN was looking like he was going to put up a bagel, and then had like a great 4th quarter. I don't know what to make of Darnold. If he needs to throw. What I do know, and this is problematic, is the Rams generate a ton of pressure up the middle with their defensive tackles, and Seattle still has one of the worst interior O-lines in football. And if Charles Cross is also hurt, that's a big problem because Byron Young is a beast, even though he also hasn't practiced this week. But the difference in coach language, they said this guy's chomping at the bit to play, which feels like a lot different than we're optimistic he's going to go. But who knows? Seattle's very guarded with the Darnold language, and he ended up playing. So I'm not sure what to make of the coach speak at this level.
Yeah, it's also frustrating because last week he essentially got nothing from Darnold didn't really get tested in the game. We didn't have to see him move that much. And leading up to the game, it's like people were saying like this guy might not even play, and then he ends up playing. They absolutely curb stomped the 49ers. It's just a crazy situation all around.
Now Seattle has a big edge in special teams. Like Rashid Shaheed's a great returner. And the Rams are like one of the worst at covering kickoffs in this new NFL. So that is going to be an interesting. And I also don't trust the thicker kicker.
Yeah, no, fair. Because one of their biggest edges to start the year, the Rams, was like their ability to wasn't kickoff coverage, but Cardi, their kicker, was like really good at like I don't even know how to call it, like the making the ball bounce before, like in the landing zone and make it do weird stuff. Thicker kicker. Hasn't been good with that stuff this year. Before you head out, George, I asked you to take a look at the player milestones market over on FanDuel. They have a ton of markets here with playoff passing yard milestones, playoff receiving yard milestones, players to lead the playoffs in rushing yards, things of that nature. You wanted to talk about a couple of these markets. I asked you to look into some of these markets. You have some opinions on the most receiving yards. So let's start there. Most receiving yards in the 2026 playoffs. Right now, Puka Nacua odds-on favorite at minus 280. Anyone else you like? I mean, Keyshawn Boutte and Jackson Smith-Njigba both plus 700. Pretty close by here. Any opinion here?
So here's what I love about these markets. There's like 3 factors. You don't have to predict who's going to win the Super Bowl. You have to calculate what people have already gotten, what is the probability of them playing in the next game, and then what do you think they're going to get in 2 games of playing. So off win probability, New England is a 65 to 69%, depending on which book, win probability to play in the Super Bowl. So you're like a higher likelihood, or at least a 2/3 likelihood that you're going to get 2 more games out of New England. Seattle's a 59% win probability at current market price. Then you have to calculate, like, Puka's got 167 yards already banked. JSN has 19 yards. Even if he's a higher probability to play 2 games, does he have it to outpace Puka, who's got a 140-yard lead on him? Because Puka's going to play this game. So you have to figure, and then also, can he catch a Bute who might play a second game? The most interesting prices I thought were Hunter Henry and Ramondre Stevenson.
Okay.
Because New England likes to distribute the ball widely. And if Henry and Stevenson are the path to passing against Denver, because they actually do quite well, Henry has already got 69 yards plus 3,500 to win.
Mm-hmm.
And Ramondre Stevenson got 86 yards at plus 8,000 to win. You obviously need the Rams to lose.
Yes.
That's the key, right? Because it's a lot easier to beat out Cooper Kupp, who's only got 60 yards, and your own teammates, aka Boutte, who's got 141 yards. That's the guy in your way. And then the added benefit of Henry is if they play Seattle, Seattle gives up a ton to the tight ends. So those were my 2 favorite long shots. But obviously, if Puka plays 2 games, it's gonna be Puka. But that's an interesting market from. Those are fun brain exercises.
Yeah, if you want to be a psychopath like me and you really want to sweat, Colston Loveland, who is not going to play another game, is 225 to 1. Listen, Puka's probably going to crush that next game, but if you get like a Rams loss and somehow Puka does not cover that 193 number, if he doesn't somehow get 25 yards, which seems almost impossible, but if he doesn't get that, you're pretty live at that 225 to 1 with no one really anywhere close other than Kayshon Boutte, who would need 50 yards over the next 2 games, and that's assuming that Kayshon Boutte and the Patriots win. Am I a psychopath for clicking at 225 to 1 on Colston Loveland, who's not going to play another snap in the playoffs?
No, listen, you said it, like, if Seattle wins, because if they win, it's probably because they've done a good job shutting down the Rams offense. And New England just distributes the ball far too widely.
Yeah.
So, like, I know Boute's got 141. There's no guarantee that he's going to get another 40 yards a game. And who knows, if Denver wins, then you're really
live. Yeah, it's almost better than taking in an exact on Broncos and Seattle. Maybe like a little bit of an alternative there. But anyways, could be fun. If you're a psychopath like me, I'll be clicking that. Most rushing yards, do you have an opinion on that as well? This market right now, Kenneth Walker minus 135. He's like the clear odds-on favorite, just simply because Zach Charbonnet, of course, crazy game last week. But Zach Charbonnet out, he really is the guy. All the other backfields are sort of split. Any opinion on this one? Do you like? Are you gonna any interest in going the same route that I went, talking about James Cook 250 to 1, who's currently leading by like 15 yards?
No, I actually liked your first comment in our side message. Ramondre at 123 yards, he's already got it. He's ahead of Walker right now, plus 460. Higher likelihood that he's playing in the next game too than Kenneth Walker. And I think Travion Henderson, he's got 52 yards, right? But plus 6,500. He's a home run threat. We've seen the 100-yard game from Travion, and this isn't a very this hasn't been a very high market. If Travion has a big game, he could be in that top 3 heading into the final week, and you're holding a 65 to 1 on a guy who can essentially win it. So I think the 2 New England running backs are my favorite looks.
All right, the 2 New England running backs are the way to go in this market. Any other opinions you got here? I know you mentioned most rushing TDs. That market is really interesting because the leader right now only has 3. It's Kenneth Walker. You're not going to need much here to come out on top. Some of these guys will only need 1 or 2 touchdowns over the next 2 games if they can make it through. So most playoff rushing TDs. Anyone you like here?
I like Kyron. The reason I don't like Walker is because of he's minus 650, but also dead heat rules will crush you. I kind of like if the Rams win, Kyron's already got 2 banked, and nobody else has a touchdown within range. Kyron could essentially with 1 touchdown win this award, and with 2 he could be the sole winner. I kind of like Kyron Williams plus 440, and that it's probably better price than his anytime touchdown price.
All right, probably better price than his anytime touchdown price. This is the whole reason why I wanted to bring you on here and talk about this stuff, George, because it's just like we got to think outside of the box when it comes to this stuff, and I think that we're doing the right way here. Yeah, Kyron Williams plus 440 looks pretty good.
See, this is why I like doing content with you, Jason. You drag me down alleys that I never go down. You make me click markets that I've never opened before.
It's fun. It's fun stuff. And I will say, I honestly don't want to say this because I want to keep this to myself, but I'm going to share it with the chat. If you guys dig a little bit deeper into this stuff, you can parlay these. You can actually parlay these together. You can't parlay guys on the same team, but maybe if you want to, like, if you're thinking of a certain outcome, that could be correlated by parlaying 2 guys on separate teams. That could be something that's really interesting here. Anywho,
I got a question for you before I get out
talk
here.
me through it.
I want your prediction.
No, my prediction on both these games. Okay, can I go on a tangent quickly? Actually, not talk about these games. Everyone on the internet. Oh, completion percentage is so important. Caleb Williams doesn't complete. He's not good at completion. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, I looked at the box score today. I didn't realize Matt Stafford had a worse completion percentage last game than Caleb Williams. Make it make sense, George. Make it make sense.
It was like 50%.
It's terrible. No one's talking about that. Also, there was like 7 drops from these Bears receivers, along with the terrible routes, or along with 2 of his pass attempts that were picks. Listen, picks are not good, but if it's 4th and down on the 20 and you need to convert, I'd rather a guy throw a pick than him throw 5 yards short to the sticks, which half these other quarterbacks do in the NFL. Anyways,
I'll also say, without Caleb's magic, they don't even get to the overtime.
Not even close.
Yeah, we could have covered the Rams. You know,
I also
he said "fuck you" on the way out to Rams back.
Good. As you should, because I'm looking at the board right now. I owe you, George. I owe you a bet still. Maybe we'll do it for the Super Bowl.
Well, I want to be in studio when you do it, so let's plan for like Monday or Tuesday. I come in.
Okay.
I have to come and grab merch and send it to somebody. I've been putting it off because of how cold it is, and I'm an old man, Jason. My body hurts in this extreme weather, so I'll suck it up because next week's gonna be very cold. I can't put it off anymore.
All right. You asked me for my prediction.
Yes.
Patriots, Broncos. You want my prediction final score? What do you want? You want me to just pick?
I want to know who's in the Super Bowl.
Who's in the Super Bowl? We're going to have fun. We're going to have a Denver Seahawks Super Bowl. I will officially cash the Hammer draft series with, by the way, have three of the final 4 teams right now.
So fun to you is the Super Bowl that is the least desired Super Bowl of these 4 teams.
Defense wins championship, man. Come on. 2 of the best defenses in the league. This is the year that we get like a sloppy slop fest of a Super Bowl, and we can all just get like have a couple drinks, have some fun in the Super Bowl.
Can I give you an analogy?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Wrestling. You know what wrestling does special?
What?
So in most sports, you can't pick the final, the dream final, right? It just you're up to. Wrestling controls that destiny. Wrestling gets to tell you, if you think these 2 guys are the best in the world, we'll put them in the match at WrestleMania to settle everything. We've been debating MVP all year. Let's just settle that debate in the Super Bowl. Drake May and Matt Stafford, and Tom Brady wins his first Super Bowl against the Rams in his 2nd year in the league. Wouldn't it be poetic if Drake May wins the Super Bowl in his 2nd year in the league against the Rams?
Well, haven't
me sick.
Haven't Patriots fans gotten enough? Like, leave a little bit something for the rest of us out there. Like, what are we talking about? Poetic? Get the hell out of here. That's terrible.
All 4 of these teams are recent winners, so there's no chance for us to get like a new team to have success. Like, all these teams know what it feels like.
It was the Bears year, man. Also, can we just talk about how great Ben Johnson is? 1, falling on the DJ Moore sword, and 2, saying, how are we building on this year? We're not building on this year. We start at the bottom. We're at ground zero again. What a leader. Is he the best head coach of the league? Anyways, he actually might be. He might be.
He's fantastic.
He is until Phillip Rivers gets his Bills gig.
Oh, my God. That can't happen. That can't happen, by the way.
Listen, he might be. I still got to see what Jeff Hafley brings to the table. But
listen, George, we're going to disagree on Jeff Hafley. I think you could have done a lot worse. You're in like a You're in like a limbo period where you just gotta kind of just be shit.
What does that mean? We could have done a lot worse, like hired Antonio Pierce.
Yeah.
Thanks for the vote of confidence.
Okay, last thing before you head out. Seeing a lot of parallels between Buffalo and Toronto. I watched that press conference with Pagula. I watched that press conference with Bean, and I see both of them sitting at the podium. And George, there is a famous photo, Toronto sports media. This might be too inside baseball for our American audience, but Shanahan and Dubas sitting at the podium. We've seen it many times. Toronto team that never got over the hill, should have got over the hill, should have competed, should have been in cup finals, should have won conference championships, conference finals, never did. Are the parallels there between the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Buffalo Bills?
The Bills are wasting their best player in franchise history, and the Leafs are also wasting their best player in franchise history.
Tough way to end a Friday. George, appreciate you joining the show. We'll talk on Sunday.
Yes, and then I'll see you Monday. We'll break down. We'll have the first preview Monday of the Patriots-Rams Super Bowl.
I'm going to need you to cook up a great Super Bowl prop for us, okay? We want it bright and early.
Yeah, okay. I'm doing Gatorade shower. I don't care.
All right. I love it, George. Appreciate it. We'll chat soon.
Okay. Take care, my friend.
Awesome stuff. Always fun with George. Going a little bit long there, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Guys, I am clicking around on this player milestone stuff. I am telling you there is something there. There is something there. Just don't click it before I click it, please. The fact that you can parlay it is kind of crazy to me. Anyways, appreciate you guys joining the show. Appreciate you guys tuning in live today. If you can do us a huge favor, smash the like button. Goes a long way here on the channel. If you're new to the channel as well, hit the subscribe button. I always ask this. I'm asking this more as the season goes on. Listen, football's the busy season. That's where most of the content, most of the sports calendar is consumed. So much is going on. Would mean a lot for us if you just shared it with a friend. If you have a friend who likes watching the show, if you have a friend who wants to watch the show, make sure you share it with them because they'll enjoy it. They'll enjoy it. And one more shout out. Shout out Lychees 100 on YouTube, who doesn't always tune in live, but every time this show ends, he comes in, comments below, says for the algorithm. Lychee, I see you every time you do that. It does wonders for us in the algorithm. We appreciate that. We appreciate that. So I wanted to give you a shout out, Lychees 100. You're a dog. You're an absolute dog. Anywho, shout out to all our guests who came on. Shout out to you guys for tuning in. Shout out to the chat for being crazy as per usual. Shout out to eColt with the release. Jarrett Stidham, Super Bowl MVP 20-1, where you can find it. That's it for today. This has been the Friday, January 23rd edition of the Hammer Daily here on the Hammer Betting Network, presented by FanDuel. We will see you guys right here next week. Enjoy your weekend, everyone.